Today's video topic is Andrew Yang. My friend dared me to make a video about why UBI is full of crap. So here I am. I'm about to do it right here. Who is Andrew Yang and what's his platform? He is a presidential candidate for the 2020 election. And here he is on Joe Rogan about to explain it.
Now, when you're talking about universal basic income, there's two questions that come up. How much money and where is it coming from?
Yeah. So first, I want to say that if you look at the heritage of universal basic income, it's a deeply American idea where Thomas Paine was for it at the founding of the country. And then Martin Luther King was for it. Milton Friedman, the godfather of conservative economists, was for it. And one state has had it in effect for 37 years, where everyone in that state gets between $1,000 and $2,000 a year, no questions asked.
That's Alaska?
Yeah, it's Alaska, and they fund it with oil money.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm going around telling people is that technology is the oil of the 21st century. So I know you spoke to another guest about, hey, how do you get, let's say, approximately $3 trillion a year to fund universal basic income? And the great thing is that the first thing is it's not actually $3 trillion. And the reason why it's not $3 trillion is
Okay, we're going to pause it right there, and we're actually going to get to that. I don't want to show the rest of this video. You can look it up. It's on Joe Rogan's podcast. But first thing we're going to have to debunk is this idea that Alaska has universal basic income, because Alaska, I'll just go to the link. It's called the Alaska Permanent Fund, and it's funded by oil money, like he said. But how is that the same? This is an actual permanent fund corporation. It's a corporation. It's got money coming in from actually selling a product, and it brings in money. There's a form of revenue. It's not just taking money from the people and redistributing it. It's taking resources from their state, generating revenue, and then giving it to the residents of that state, that because it's their state, they should benefit from the resources that the state has. So we're going to read a little into the history here. It was designed to be an investment where at least 25% of the oil money will be put into a dedicated fund for future generations who would no longer have oil as a resource. This does not mean the fund is solely funded by oil revenue, blah, 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 blah. So the minimum 25% deposit is closer to 11%. So they take about 11% of the money that they make and they put it into this fund, and then this fund pays an annual dividend to the residents. Now, how much is that annual dividend? He says between $1,000 to $2,000. And you can see starting in 1982 was 1,000, and then it was 300 something, 700. It goes all the way up to about 1,900. So reached a peak right there, $2,000, and then it's kind of just been up and down. So this fund is for the whole entire year, and it only pays $1,000 to $2,000 a whole year. It's not the same as giving away $1,000 every single month. That's just crazy talk. Now, everybody loves to bring up this as Alaska having some sort of socialism and how great it is and all that kind of stuff. So we have this article by Vox, and we all know Vox is very trustworthy, right? Very trustworthy. Look at this headline: the amazing true socialist miracle of the Alaska Permanent Fund. Every resident gets a check just for being alive, and it really, really works. Oh boy. This is the type of stuff that is being fed to people who read Vox. All right. This next page, it is an opinion written on Market Watch, but there is a lesson to be learned about their annual oil dividend. So down here, it starts to talk about it. And I'm actually going to not get into this as much as I wanted to because I want to get to the rest of the story, which is about Andrew Yang. But basically, because they have Alaska had this oil fund, they also decided not to have state taxes and have low property taxes. Well, this has led to a problem. The oil supports 85% of the state budget. So the state is highly dependent on them having oil and oil selling for a lot of money. Here we go. By 2014, oil prices have flagged. The state budget, which depends on prices higher than the mid $40 per barrel range, fell into deficit starting in 2014, which in the last previous Wikipedia link, you will see that they had to reduce their payouts in the last 3 years. So now there's somebody running for governor who says they want to pay out the rest of those dividends that got reduced. Anyways, we're going to keep going. So Andrew Yang on his own website, this is his website. What is a freedom dividend? Now, we've already gone through that. So the main question is, how will we pay for the freedom dividend? This is coming directly from his website. Number one, they're going to get money from current spending. We currently spend between $500 to $600 billion a year on welfare. So assuming we can recover all of the money, that's going to be one of the sources. Then healthcare, incarceration, and homeless services, he says we would save $100 to $200 plus billion. So there's another source, a VAT. Now, a VAT is a very tricky word because Americans don't know what VATs are. Only like Europeans know what VATs are, but we will get to that. We'll explain what a VAT is in just a second. He is claiming a VAT is going to generate $800 billion in new revenue. And then his last source of revenue is just called new revenue. All right. That the VAT is called new revenue and this is called new revenue, but he claims because the Roosevelt Institute is going to project the economy will grow by 2.5 trillion, which is the amount of money that he plans on injecting back into the economy. 2.5 trillion and create 4.6 million new jobs, and this will generate approximately 800 to 900 billion in new revenue. And then he's got the last thing, he's got taxes on pollution, removing a social security cap, financial transaction tax, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is his plan outlined on his own website. Now, what is a VAT? This is from TaxJar. It's just a blog, but it's about understanding sales tax, which is a VAT in the UK and Europe. Here is where they explain what a VAT is. But let's wind it back a bit first. Sales tax in the EU is referred to as a VAT, which stands for value added tax. And similar to the US, where each individual state and territory has its own individual sales tax rate, in the EU, each member country determines their own sales tax rate. So Andrew Yang wants to raise your sales tax, but your state already charges you sales tax to pay for the things that happen in the state. Now he wants to add a 10% across the board sales tax for goods sold in the United States. Now that's great for some states like Oregon when they don't have sales tax, but in California where people live, or in New York where a lot more people live, they already have a 10% sales tax. So you're going to be looking at paying a 20% sales tax, 10% state, 10% federal, just to buy your stuff. How is that saving you any money? Now, there is the Foundation for Economic Education. They wrote an article about how Andrew Yang's math doesn't add up. I'm just going to share some of it. So this talks about what was outlined in his website right there. This is the main thing. He cites a paper by the Roosevelt Institute that finds at $12,000 per year, UBI would expand the economy by 12.56% over 8 years. However, that 12.56% growth is under a scenario of completely debt-financed program. The study admits that a completely tax-funded program would result in a 6.5% growth over 8 years. Now, the reason why that is because you're taxing people on one end and then giving it back to them on the other end. So really that $1,000 you're getting that you'll be paying back in added VAT taxes isn't exactly $1,000 a month or $12,000 per year. So not only Fee has an article debunking it, we have the Tax Foundation. Let's go to this. So they actually break it down a little bit differently. It is broken down on their website. I won't include links. But down here, this is how they break it down. So they are saying that the cost is 2.8 trillion, that the VAT tax will gain another 900 billion, and then his total tax revenue is projected to be 1.3 trillion, and we're looking at a net deficit of 1.5 trillion. Okay, so they're not as kind to Andrew Yang as I'm gonna be, but so I mean this is a little bit absurd. Let's go by Andrew Yang's numbers. Now, before we go to that, we're gonna look at the census from 2010. This is total number of population. This is total population under 18 years, and this is population over 65 years. So we got 308 million, 74 million, 400 million. All right. So here's the math of how many million Americans was in his working age American estimate from 18 to 65. We have the total population minus under 18 minus over 65. You get 194 million, which comes out to be about 63% of the total population. Now we're going to project this to the 2020 population, which they are saying that the projection is it's going to U.S. population is going to come out to around 334 million people. So let's just do 63% equals working class Americans. That's 210 million Americans. All right. So here's the UBI math. Total 18 to 65 living in U.S., 210 million Americans. That's going to cost us $210 billion per month for a total of times 12 months for a total of $2.6 trillion annually. Now, if we go by Yang's best case scenario, that he brings in $800 billion in a VAT, saves $600 million from welfare, saves another $200 billion from healthcare and incarceration and all that kind of stuff, including his $900 million in quote unquote new revenue based off of that study that he claimed, and then plus another whatever for his additional taxes, he gets pretty much on the dot to being able to pay for his whole program. Because $25 billion overall, that it's not even that big of a deal. It's like 1%. So margin of error, right? But that's based on his best case scenario. How often do you see a contractor bid for, say, a government construction job and say, or a government will say, hey, this is going to cost us $3 billion. And then 10 years later, it costs them $6 billion. You know what I mean? So let's just go by Yang's worst case scenario. Now, in Andrew Yang's worst case scenario plan, we're going by his numbers. He's still going to make that 800 billion VAT, a little bit less from the welfare, less from the healthcare, less from the revenue. Now he's coming out 325 billion behind. So this is what we want to address with a new revenue that he claims. The new revenue lie. He assumes that $2.5 trillion will all be spent, and they will be able to recover $900 billion in tax revenue. That is a tax rate of 36% overall. So they would have to tax that entire $2.5 trillion, recover $900 billion at a tax rate of 36%. So what you're actually getting is maybe $700, $650 per month, because they're going to tax it from you anyways. And the VAT lie, which we already addressed, a VAT is just another fancy way of saying sales tax. There is absolutely no way Andrew Yang is going to be able to pay for this. This is just socialism wrapped up with a different gift wrap. And we all know what happens with socialism. It always ends in breadlines, which we will get to by the end of this video. Now, I just want to look at some Andrew Yang memes, some pro Andrew Yang memes and some anti Andrew Yang memes. He says, don't let them distract us. Focus on the money. And it's the Yang Gang storming the Amazon fulfillment center to relocate the bag. Maybe they don't understand that they don't keep the money at the Amazon fulfillment center. It's just stuff. Anyways, next meme. 13 American gangs that are keeping the FBI up at night. Number 1, the Yang Gang. It's just a bunch of Asian guys like flexing with the Yang Gang hats and rolled up $100 bills. You know, this is a pretty funny meme. I like it. All right. A country going to shit. Here's your average American voter. Country going to shit with Donald Trump, or country going to shit plus $1,000. Yeah. So tax revenue is based off of gross domestic product and how much money the country can actually produce. So if we move into a non-capital system, that means our country's productivity goes down, which means the gross domestic product goes down, which means tax revenue goes down. But we still got to give you everybody $1,000, which we can't even pay for currently. Next meme. All right. Don't look at her. She's not worth your time. Look into my eyes. Trump's presidency is temporary. 1,000 is reoccurring. So stupid. All right. I do like this one. Your wallet every month. $200, $1,000. Yeah. Vote Yang. He will gangbang $1,000 into your wallet every month or something. Yep. So these pretty much all his memes are about getting that, securing the bag, getting that $1,000. I don't know exactly, like, are they trying to like appeal to the weeboos or the cosplays, I don't know, the anime crowd? What percentage of Americans actually watch anime? They would be into this. But do you want it $1,000 or do you want to see these anime boobs? I don't know. Next meme. All right, so we got Donald Trump over here eating his McDonald's with his menorah. Is that what they're called? His Jewish candle holder. And then everybody's in line trying to get the money from Yang. Secure the bag. Now, this is what actually happens when you secure the bag. At least it ain't automation. Yes. We could hire a robot to carry this bundle of sticks, though. So, YangGang! Next meme. We need to do something about automation. Retrain everyone to code. Make automation illegal. Freedom Dividend, YangGang 2020. And then you throw them out the window. Because that's exactly what should happen. Throw bad ideas out the window. Ma'am, do you have a moment to talk about securing the bag? Which kind of bag are we talking about? It's not the money bag full of $1,000. It is the bread bag that you can get in your local bread line. And then this is how you secure the bag. How you secure the bag after getting that bread with one of these little twist tie thingies. And that is all for today's video. Like this video, share this video, comment on this video. Let everybody know that I'm making videos. Peace.